Hey guys, Josh here, your Amazon optimization guru, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things related to optimizing and increasing your sales on Amazon. If you're interested in a more personalized one-on-one approach, I do offer consulting services, and you can get in touch with me by filling out the form in the description below. So today I thought we'd talk about something that's fairly important in regards to making sure that your listings are optimized and therefore increase your conversion value and your sales as a result. And that aspect today is the A+ Content Manager, and more specifically the enhanced brand content that Amazon offers within the listings itself. So if you're a registered brand, you'll get access to this A+ content. You may or may not get access to the enhanced premium A+ content. I think it may at this point be available to most sellers. I know exclusively in the past it was only available to people who enrolled in the Launchpad program. But I think you probably should have access to it if you're a registered brand. And if not, make sure to give support and call or send them a note or an email. See if you can get that enabled. So the difference being that A+ content and then premium A+ gives you kind of larger modules and a more variety of modules themselves. So you'll definitely see better results if you get access to that. And again, before you do all of this, it's probably a good idea to have access to some sort of designer that can mock the images up for you and do all of the work on the back end for that. Just make sure that you have all the specs on hand, and we'll show you where you can find those in a minute here as well. Alternatively, you can do it yourself if you're good enough in Photoshop, or even Canva is an easy way to do it these days. So if you learn enough about how to use that platform, even if you're not really a particularly good designer, you could come up with some pretty decent content. So in order to find the A+ content, we're actually going to go into our dashboard here and click on the left side, bring up the options, and you can see under advertising, you should have that A+ Content Manager module. And then we go ahead and click on that, and it's going to bring us in there. You can see we already have a number of A+ already implemented, but if you're new to this or you'd like to implement new A+, you can start by clicking the button on the right side there. And you can see the basic options, and then if you have access to premium, you can get that. The brand story is kind of a separate section that I consider, so I'm not going to include it in this video, but we will talk about that at some point as well, because I really think it can help enhance your listing further. So again, like I said, you probably want to go with the premium. And it also makes sense to kind of familiarize yourself with the different modules and what's available to you as a brand, so you can make a decision. Now, in this case, if you're looking at the premium modules, you get a maximum of 7 of these modules. So you want to keep that in mind when you're creating the content and make sure that all 7 modules encompass exactly what you want to include. So you can see here there's a lot of different types. I'm not going to go over all the types in this video, but certainly something you can explore and decide, what you think works best for you. I think obviously the most basic would be a text and an image, or a module designed around that, or even a premium full image. So what you could do is you could just go into Canva and you could design all your modules based off of these full images. So you can see it's 1464 by 600 in size. And then if you build them out, you can actually join them together and have them kind of tell a story. And we'll go over some examples in a minute here, but I did want to kind of go over some elements that I think would be important to include or think about in terms of your A+ content. Obviously, first off, you're going to want some high quality imagery. This is going to appear just below the fold on your product pages. I'll show you that in a minute. And it's going to be something that a lot of consumers look at. Statistically, it's been known to increase conversion rates by about 4 to 10%. If you do a really good job of it, it could go beyond that. But it's certainly a significant number. It's certainly something you want to have included. So I would say high quality images. I definitely include some more detailed product information. Again, if you could do it in some way that encapsulates imagery, this is a perfect section to do it. Again, a lot of the details and the specs can be included in the back end details. They can be included in the bullets and the description. But this is really just a place to put it in a more visual format for buyers that might be more inclined to be more receptive to that. So you could have obviously nice images of your products, comparison charts, which are supported in the Say Plus content. And then you could do more engaging headlines, for example, and break the information down. So if you have benefits to your product, like, for example, a supplement might be non-GMO, it might be organic, it might be gluten-free, it might be low sugar or no sugar, etc. All of these can be encapsulated within icons and imagery with a textual component in the Say Plus. And you could do the same for any other product. You know, if you wanted to do wood flooring, you say naturally sourced, right, and have the icon represent that. So again, we're looking more at like the visual aspect here with these modules. You can even encapsulate some storytelling if you want. A lot of that's probably going to be more so in the about the brand section, which we'll talk about. That will go above this content section. But you could include it if you want to. Calls to action, interactive elements if you want. There's a lot of like hover over modules that you can put in there. There's videos that you can put in there. I definitely recommend if you have a video or you could create one that you leverage that. I think it can really help within this section. Again, keep the branding consistent and make sure that it's more localized to your specific audience. So you really want to focus in on who you're marketing to and make sure the color schemes, the wording, the positioning, and also the types of imagery. If you're using lifestyle imagery, make sure that it fits in with your audience or your intended audience. Just to keep it coherent to whoever's looking at it and consistent with the brand itself. And then benefits, again, clearly list those benefits, clearly list icons. It's a great place to do it. And don't forget, you can always A/B test these types of modules. If you check out my other video, I talk about A/B testing and how you can create A/B tests to make a more informed decision to increase your conversion rate and ultimately sales. So it's just a couple of ideas off the back of my head there. And then I did want to share some examples here. These are in the nutrition space. It's mainly because that's what I work in. But again, these could be extrapolated to other areas as well. And you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. So they're leveraging the premium A plus here. These are larger modules. They're wider than some of the others you might see. But I think they're a great example. They have very vibrant imagery. Their branding is consistent with their audience. They have clear, concise messaging. So here they start with kind of their lead messaging. And then they have a module here you can scroll through, so it shows the benefits of the product with a little bit more detail. And then they have the video, which is a nice touch. A lot of brands here, if you're doing like a consumable, they like to include a section for recipes. So they've included that here. I think it really works well to enhance the product. So if there's any way that you could think of, even if you're not a consumable, to just add additional value and satiate satiate their taste buds, really, is what I'm talking about here, whether it's with a smoothie or with a couch. And then, of course, they have this section here, which shows their kind of environmental impact and how they're benefiting for the greater good. And then they use a module where they compare and have their additional products, so you can see those compared and you can click through to additional products there. So I think that was really well done. If you have another example here from another brand on Amazon, they're actually leveraging the normal content, and you can see that it's much smaller. It doesn't necessarily mean it's that much worse, but I think the impact overall is lessened by the size. But still, they have great imagery here. They have a little introduction. They have all of their accreditations up at the top, and then their main messaging, their benefits, and their products compared. So again, another good example for just normal A+ content. And if we move on to the brand Herb Tonics here, they're leveraging, again, the premium content. And what they've done here is they've made it more consistent where it flows through. Really like what they do with the design. If you get to a more advanced stage with your editing, or you have a good designer, they'll probably be able to do something like this. I definitely suggest it just because it makes it more continuous. It makes it look more professional. I think this is the best example out of these products that I've found so far. Again, they have the benefits icons. They have the main call out at the bottom. They have the title. And then, of course, they're going into more specifically what the product can do for you and how it fits into your daily routine. And then the ingredients, how it works, which is cool. And they have this interactive kind of hover over map, which is a function of the A+ content if you want to use it for that. And then a video. And then the FAQ at the bottom here. So, I think this is a great example. Again, you may not be in the supplement space, but I would suggest looking at products in a similar space and finding their A+ content and kind of seeing how they do it and what elements they look to include. It always helps to look at the most successful products because a lot of the time they're doing something right. And I would also go as far as to say, pick the most successful products that aren't name brands. A lot of name brands obviously get propelled to the top of Amazon search results just because they're a recognized brand, but they may not necessarily have a good listing. So I would see if you could find ones that are near the top of the results or that are top sellers, but not necessarily name brands and that have good examples. This brand, I think, is a good one, especially, and I invite you to find one within your specific niche that will support that as well. So that's basically the overview of the A+ content. Of course, when you go into it, you can look at all the technical details. Don't forget to add imagery for the mobile format as well. That is required. Very important. It's just going to be a smaller image of what you've created before. So make sure your sizing's right. How many panels you have access to or you're going to leverage, maximum of 7. And then really you just want to implement and look at body text as a good thing for indexing, as well as the alt text as well. So you have the image keywords here. We'll talk about, and we do talk about, keyword research in my other videos, so you can check that out as well. And finally, if you liked this video, you found it informative, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more great content. And we'll see you soon.